Hello YouTube. It is October the 3rd, 2018, and I'm here to do a surprising review on Nappily Ever After. I just got finished watching it, and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting to do a review on it. I don't do movie reviews, but it actually moved me. And it's surprising for Sanaa Lathan because normally I typecast her with those actresses such as like old school Gabrielle Union, this actress right here. Matter of fact, I would just have a collage of all of them just pop up on the screen. And y'all know we still dealing with the camera issues, y'all. Um, one step at a time, y'all. One step at a time. But anyways, I was moved by the movie. Like, did y'all see Nappily Ever After? If not, this is a spoiler video, so don't look more into this video if you haven't. But it started out with the premise of, perfectionists gravitating towards hair. And I thought it was going to be like Chris Rock's movie, but it was actually playfully different. I haven't seen a movie this memorable from Sanaa Lathan since she was like a teenager and she was in Love and Basketball. And that was years ago, decades ago. So this definitely earned her back. But it seems like all the low budget movies actually bring out the best acting skills. It's like Taraji P. Henson, she was the same ghetto bitch up until she did the Lifetime movie with what was it called when she had the half Korean child? It's not Losing Isaiah because that's Halle Berry, but it was similar to that, except her child ended up going to Korea and she had to rescue her child from Korea and all of this that showcased her acting skills. And recently she did Public Figures. With Gabrielle Union, she got her acting debut as far as diversifying her character with being Mary Jane. She finally got out the typecasting role of being the uppity, mean girl. So now Lathan seems like she got her big break with this movie right here. So she's conservative, black, Christian woman, because that's what it gives me. Because I'm from the South, as y'all can tell, North Carolina, born and raised. It gives me that North Carolina, Southern Baptist feel with Lynn Whitfield. You always have to keep the hair pressed straight. You always got to be corporate. The white people can always be dirty and whatever. But as black people, we got to always be professional at all times. Because if we do the same thing as white people, such as have fun and just be dirty, we are seen as monkeys. We're seen as less than. We're seen as the ghetto. All this and that. So revealing the double standards that black people had to go through, and seeing the internalized structure that the mother, Lynn Whitfield, growing up in the 1940s, has instilled upon her daughter, who was, brought up in the 1970s. Having to flat iron the hair consecutively, and, everything has to be proper in the South. She grew up and she has that same perfectionist mindset. Thought the husband was going to marry her, and I'm just doing a Cliff Notes version. I'm not going to go through the whole scene. I'm just saying the stuff that stuck out to me. I'm surprised she ain't never looked into the into the box, but she thought it was a marriage ring. Birthday came, turned out to be a keychain, and then the Chihuahua. Honey Chihuahua makes other guest appearances throughout the movie. So she's sad she broke up with the darn man. She ends up having a nervous breakdown, and then she dyes her hair blonde. And I guess on the box it was called FU hair. So now she's a blonde because she's seen this blonde chick with curly hair, not knowing that her hair was beautiful because of the natural curls, not necessarily because it was blonde, but she still internalizes that blonde is better because it simulates with whiteness, it simulates with professionalism and composure and all of this, but it's also more wild and risque, but it still is professional at the same time if you have it sleek and straight. So now she got this blonde hair that can double as, corporate professional white girl and then turn it into stripper girl by night. So now she's in the process of trying to find herself. She's at this club with this whorish blonde hair, trying to act like the Dipsy blonde girl. But she's still in that maternalized structure. She trying to go to the club, but she's in this blue corporate dress. So they put her in this hooker dress. She falls flat on the floor, finds this handsome white guy, ends up taking him home. They making out. She's smattering him with honey and stuff. Somehow she slipped on the honey. The honey got in her hair. He ended up busting his head. And he's so enchanted by the black coochie, he's still trying to get some, even though he's darn gone bleeding and all over the place. She's now wrecked. She's now going back into the internalized mode. So she's walking out. And of course, the rain done hit her hair. And now it just poofed up into an afro. Now, mind you, now it looks like the hair that she originally saw that made her dye her, bleach her hair. Because what gave her the idea to go blonde was when she seen the black woman with the big curly blonde hair. But she's still thinking in the corporate mindset, and she had hers bleach blonde only to flat iron it. Because she's trying to look close to professionalism, corporate white America as possible. But then it turned into an afro, which I thought was cute on her. And she really did too, because you see how she's looking and she's smiling. But then she going through the back, she's battling with herself. And then she has the full-on mental breakdown and just cuts all her hair off. She gets more drunk. She cuts her hair off. Wake up the next morning. She's darn gonna shock this fuck. But you can't turn back now. You can't put it on your head. It's like, hell, don't even try to glue nothing onto it, honey. So now she's embracing the hair. Lynn Whitfield comes in the door, passes out. Like I said, I'm just giving y'all the Cliff Notes version. This ain't about to be no half-hour video today. But, like I said, it just made an interesting turn. Oh, what led her... But before that, though, I overlooked the point that her hair was already damaged from... Not only consecutively flat ironing, but she met this little girl called Zoe, who is going to be important throughout the whole movie as well. Zoe, she ended up saying something about the girl's hair. She ends up turning around and giving the girl relaxing. So she went to go to get her hair did, and it started falling out in clumps. And then she plopped on the brown wig. Yeah, she plopped on the brown wig, and then after, I'm backpedaling a little bit. Her hair fell out a little bit, but I guess it didn't fall out all the way. She had hair all the way down to here, but I guess by the time she bleached it blonde, it was up to here. Because at first in the movie it confused me. I thought she was wearing a blonde wig up into, because she said this is what it said on the box. I thought it was a wig box. She said this is called FU hair. So I thought, she had a unit on until, she left old dude's house from smearing the honey on him, and he got his head busted open. Her hair turned into a blonde fro, and then she later cut it off. So obviously the FU hair was some sort of bleach color. I thought it was a darn gone boxy. I thought she popped a wig on her hair, because early in the scene, her hair fell out, and that's what caused her to plop on a brown wig, because her hair was damaged. So I don't know how in the span of maybe a week or so that her hair went from being over-processed to being able to take a bleach color. It did not make sense to me. This is the only thing that messed up the movie for me. She is a perfectionist. She is somebody who could not do her own hair, and she had her mother, even as a 40-some-year-old woman, pressing out her hair with the flat iron. And then when her hair got wet, because she was out with the friends and the children were playing and her hair got wet, she paid somebody $200 to give up their slot so she can get her hair repressed. And that's when she said something about old girl's hair being nappy and looking like, what you doing with that on your head, and all this, that, and the third. And that's when the girl put the relaxer in her hair, and she got under that darn dryer. She thought she had a deep conditioner in her hair, and that hair was just heating up, because you don't supposed to heat up no relaxer. Honey, that overprocessed the damn hair, and that what led her to having the wig. So now fast forward to her having this blonde hair. I'm trying to figure out how in the hell she went from having a relaxer to being able to bleach her hair within 6 weeks. So yeah, they fucked up real bad with that scenario right there. That didn't make sense, because she didn't break down and cut her hair. She's not a person that's impulsive. She's a perfectionist. So that went against the movie So that irritated me right there. It irritated me as an aspiring actor, as somebody who watched soap operas all my life. I know how to dissect, stuff like this that everybody else overlooked. And I haven't seen nobody else review, so maybe somebody else saw that inconsistency in the movie, but I will see after I upload this, or at least after I finish recording this. I would go and see if anybody else picked up on that inconsistency. Because a woman who, cannot even flat iron her hair and spent $200 getting her hair flat ironed again because she couldn't contact her mother, does not strike me as the person who would be impulsive to bleach her hair at home. So when she said that the hair was fuck me hair, I thought she had a wig on, because I said, okay, it obviously is a wig because she's not the person to bleach her own hair. But then when it turned into an afro, I said, wait a minute. So it was a curly unit. So now I thought, okay, she's still wearing a unit, but it's curly, but it don't make sense because the unit came straight. And anybody who knows about hair, straight hair is naturally straight. If it's going to be curly, it's going to be curly from the packaging. You don't send curly units straight. It is always curly. You can flat iron the unit straight, but we can tell that Sanaa Lathan don't know how to flat iron hair, because if she can't flat iron her own hair, how in the hell she's going to flat iron a wig that's very tightly curled? So that didn't make sense to me that her hair turned curly. It's because I'm thinking that it was a wig. But then she was cutting it off, I said, okay, she bleached her hair instead. Which still don't make sense. So any way that you look at it, it don't make sense. If she was wearing a straight unit that turned curly, that don't make sense, because curly hair does not come straight. It comes curly. And she don't flat iron, so she did not flat iron the hair herself. And then we seen that it was her natural hair, which don't make sense, because she doesn't strike you as the person that would bleach her hair at home. She spent $200 to flat iron her hair at a salon, but she's going to risk bleaching her hair at home when she just had her hair over processed with a relaxer. And as a licensed beautician, we know that you do not bleach in doggone perm hair or, relaxed hair within the 6-week period. So I'm going to need them to explain me that. And I'm going to look up the directors. This had to be directed or written by a white person, because a black person could have seen that. And I'm surprised that this passed the editing floor. The editors of this movie had to be white. You cannot tell me that the editors were dominantly black people and this passed a black woman's doggone eyes. Maybe a black man. If this movie was directed by black people, you cannot tell me that it was not directed by black men. Because a queen or a white woman, a black woman would have been able to tell that storyline is inconsistent. And like I said, I'm a licensed beautician, so that is irritating me. That was the only thing that threw the movie off for me. She just had her hair over processed. It has not been 6 weeks. So how in the hell did she go from having over processed darn hair from a relaxer to all of a sudden being able to put bleach in her hair, and her hair is just miraculously darn healthy from the darn roots to the ends? That don't make no damn sense to me. Now, granted, she left some of her hair dark or whatever, but still, the ends are the ones that is the oldest part of your hair. So when she bleached that part, that should have been the one that over processed more than anything and broke. And her hair was perfectly styled too, like no damage or nothing. So yeah, that fucked up the whole movie for me. If you're not a licensed beautician, I just probably rambled 5 minutes for nothing. But yeah, the beautician in me, that irritated me throughout the whole movie. But going past that scene that pissed me off as a beautician, I'm sure it pissed off all the other beauticians as well. She's getting into herself. She became friends with the barber's daughter. They end up having a relationship. And she's invited him to a party. And then Lynn Whitfield hit her ass. See, Lynn Whitfield's always that good. She's a typecast actress as well. But this is a typecast actress that actually plays the part well. She's always playing that meddling bitch. Lynn Whitfield, every damn movie that bitch been in, she's always playing the meddling bitch. Even on Greenleaf. On Greenleaf, on Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And then I think she played Tina Turner's mama too. Or was that Angela Bassett? No, Angela Bassett played Tina Turner. And I think Lynn Whitfield played the mama. And the mama was trying to put Tina Turner off on darn Ike. And then turned around and Diary of a Mad Black Woman and putting her abusive husband on the daughter in exchange for popularity and money and stuff. She plays that darn devious, darn uppity, darn character that's willing to darn pimp out her daughter for a coin to darn uphold her prestige appearance. Darn Lynn Whitfield plays that demonic character well. She's always playing the uppity, darn southern bitch that will be willing to darn sell out her daughter for the darn money and darn keep her fame and royalty and black darn Baptist status in the name of Jesus. So Lynn Whitfield plays her character down because she ain't nothing like that in real life. She's, I've seen her in videos in real life. She's a sweetheart. But honey, she knows how to play the evil fucking character right there. So that's a good typecast actress for us. She knows how to play the fuck out of a villain. She ends up getting a senator. And he's another typecast actor because he's that actor that we've always seen in movies over the years, but he's never made it. And almost like, once again, this girl right here, I still don't know her. And like I said, I'm recording this video, so at the time, I don't know the actress's name, but I will annotate her name. But she's that actress that we all recognize, but we never darn gonna even realize the name. Like, if we see her in a movie, we know her, but we don't know her name off the top of our head. She's that type of actress, and he's that type of actor too. He's a senator who used to be a lawyer. And they're trying to down on him because he's a darn barbershop owner. She sticks up by her man, but he ends up still being offended, and he walks out on her and told her to get her life together. What the fuck did she say that for? She go home feeling depressed. She end up booty dancing in front of the darn dog, throwing it back in the circle like the boyfriend wanted to. Because what led her to breaking up with the boyfriend was the fact that he said earlier in the show that he felt like he was in a 2-year relationship that was still on the first date. That they never have butt-naked sex in the shower. They never do nothing spontaneous. She's always perfect. She don't never dance. She's always stiff as fuck. This, that, and the third. So when he comes to pick up his shit, honey, he gonna turn the corner with that piss stain on and see her throwing it back in the circle. I done living my best life. Honey, darn gone, she just throwing it up in the darn gone circle to the darn gone booty song. Honey, that led to him taking a shower. She told him to go take a shower, whatever. Honey, she jumped in the shower with him. They end up having sex. That pissed me the fuck off. I said, what the fuck are you goddamn? Honey, I tell you, that pissed me off almost worse than the inconsistency with her having blonde hair. Because once again, as a person who has a perfectionist disorder, who spent $200 just to get her hair flat ironed at the salon, she don't strike me as the person that would impulsively just bleach her hair at home by herself. And then the hair is still healthy after just having a relaxer gone wrong. That didn't make no sense to me. And this scene right here didn't make no sense to me as well. She ends up taking the man back that she was with for 2 years just because you had one argument with this darn black man who's darn gonna help you reveal who you truly are. So that pissed me off, but she ended up still having a relationship with a little girl. They end up getting engaged. The one that she was with for 2 years, he finally popped the question this time, but she held on to the relationship with Zoe. That's the little girl's name, and she was going to be the bridesmaid. They get all the way to the end of the movie. Oh, wait a minute. Before the end of the movie, though, as she's working, and everybody's shocked by her hair. And first it's bald, and then it's growing into a short, curly fro. There was a sit-down meeting where she's pitching the speech or whatever. Now, earlier in the movie, I'm doing like How to Get Away with Murder. We have a lot of flashbacks. At the beginning, when she was Miss Perfectionist, the Asian girl always used to give her the side eye because she fell into the step, but she never said nothing her damn self. Now, when Sanaa Lathan's character is talking about advertising real women, this, that, and the third, and then the two white guys talk about having the blonde guy, the typical blonde skinny chicks with big breasts, and the sloppy cornball ends up getting getting the girls because he has a 6-pack of cola or whatever. The head manager ends up going with the status quo, commercial that we've all seen over the course of the years. The white girl, looks at the cornball with the drink, and that makes him more special. And they end up getting a drink, but they don't really look at him. They look at him for what he has versus, the truth within. Versus Sanaa Lathan's was breaking the status quo, and it was showcasing real women and, diversity across the board, that where everybody can see themselves in the ad instead of just, the typical white woman with blonde hair. The Asian girl was finally feeling it. Honey, he gave it to the two white guys, and now Lathan just up and quit, shot the fuck out the Asian girl. The rest of the movie goes by. Now, this what pissed me off. At the end of the movie, I was expecting to see the Asian girl by Sanaa Lathan's side. I didn't see her. I didn't see her up and quit with her. That's another thing that pissed me off. It was like, girl, you rolled your eyes when darn Sanaa Lathan was going with the motherfucking program. And this is another thing we kept seeing throughout the whole motherfucking movie. That people kept pointing out what Sanaa Lathan was doing. But when it was time for them to fix themselves, they couldn't do that though. So we kept seeing hypocrisy throughout. Hell, I guess this motherfucking going to be a 30-minute review. I swear, I thought this was going to be 10 minutes, but honey, it never works out that way. But that's what y'all love me for anyway. But anyways, keep going into the movie. I guess this is going to be a half-hour review. She always had people pointing out the flaws in her, but they never point out the flaws within themselves. The Asian girl got on her about the way she was pitching at the beginning of the movie. But then when she up and quit and stood up for herself and women everywhere that are real women, all of a sudden, the Asian girl was shot and had nothing to say. Lynn Whitfield kept pushing her values on her, and it took to the end of the movie of her ass being thrown in the pool by the man that she was darn on mad with because he was living his best life with his darn on eggplant out. Honey, he was darn on being like the bishop, honey. Bishop in trouble for almost giving it to darn on LaToya Luckett off of darn on Greenleaf. Now, she's pregnant in real life. I wonder if that pregnancy carried into the storyline. I hope, I'm currently on episode 4 of Greenleaf. I hope he don't end up getting the darn on LaToya Luckett pregnant on the damn show. I hope not. I hope they conceal the pregnancy on the show. But, honey, like I said, it reminded me of Lynn Whitfield going through off of Greenleaf, but just like that same character, she's always pushing the uppity stuff. And the guy reminds me of the actor from Greenleaf. He plays in a lot of movies. I forget his name as well. I would annotate his name. I'm sorry, charge it to my mind, not my heart. He's actually a famous actor. I just can't think of his name real quick. Matter of fact, let me Google search it. Who plays the bishop on Greenleaf?
According to Wikipedia, on September 24th.
My motherfucking notifications is going off, and I can't even get the name of it because it keep. And I know y'all hearing her give it off. So Winans plays the youngest daughter. I don't give a fuck about Winans. Oprah Winfrey joined Greenleaf as a recording role as Mavis Gray. I asked for who is the damn bishop, and they give me every other character on the show. LaToya Luckett is a guest star, and they giving me everybody on the motherfucking show but the main characters. Ain't this some bullshit? But if y'all know who plays the bishop, Y'all leave it down below. I mean, granted that I'm in. Okay, Keith David. That's who it is. Keith David is the one that plays the bishop, and the person in this movie reminds me of Keith David. Honey got old seasoned darn on eggplant that the girls like, honey. He's darn on rocking them the 7.99 Hanes darn on underwear. Darn on getting darn on Lynn Whitfield jealous, honey. And what would have been a good kiki at the end when it was in that pool, honey? We should have seen, honey, while her makeup was off and them darn on cornrows was out. We should have seen was the eggplant still darn on hanging, honey. What's that shrinkage like, honey? What's that shrinkage like in that darn on Hanes underwear? That would have been a good kiki at the darn on end if they would have zoomed down and we would have seen whether he had some shrinkage or not. That would have been a little bit of a get back. You threw Lynn Whitfield's darn on uppity ass rightfully in that motherfucking pool. And her makeup wasn't waterproof. That makeup came off, and that wig came off too. Whatever glue she had, it was not motherfucking got to be, honey, because that wig got to be gone, motherfucking just like this bitch. That wig went gone, and Lynn Whitfield was in that water like motherfucking silly bitch. Darn on makeup dripping and everything, like. Yeah, I'm a little bit bald-headed up here, but honey, me and Lynn Whitfield was in the same motherfucking category. She was up in that water. And you know what? I feel so bad because it's like, it was cute enough that he darn on got her back at the end. But it would have been a good catch-22. And she would have zoomed down, and we would have seen that eggplant had realistic shrinkage, and she would have pointed it out and still took his ass anyway. That would have darn gonna checked his ass. It's like, bitch, you ain't all that big as what you point out to be. The water tells all. However, she would have then kissed him. That would have made the ending for me. Women empowerment. Bitch, if you want to throw me in some water and showcase my darn on face and my darn on hair like this, we need to zoom down and show that you ain't always packing. Yes, you got a 10-inch dick, but without this darn on wretched, honey, it's only about 4 inches. That would have been a little bit of equality up in that moment. Don't darn gonna show the woman at her weakness and darn gonna always have the man at they darn gonna up points. But yeah, what led up to the pool scene was her heels was hurting throughout the whole show. And she had the flashback of when she was a child and all the other children were able to jump in the pool because they was white. And when she felt the need to jump in the pool, her hair, because she didn't understand about flat iron and the fact that her hair would turn back into an afro. She's 10 years old. But her honey, she got back in that pool. She jumped up. Her hair was a fluffy afro. They called her a cheetah pet and everything. Her mama was embarrassed, yanked her up. And she'd been holding that internalized resentment in her head, which led to her being a perfectionist all these years. So when her boyfriend, who didn't marry her at the beginning, was irritated with her and said that you never do nothing sporadic, you never booty dance, you never have butt naked sex in the shower, your hair always got to be perfect, and now she got the afro. You was loving her up until it was time to meet your parents. Once again, now we revisiting back to hypocrisy. Because everybody else was able to point out the flaws with Sanaa Lathan, but they was not able to point out the flaws with themselves. Because now, when it's time for her to meet your parents, now you want her to look like everything that you told her was wrong with her at the beginning. You said that she was too perfect. And now that she's being herself, you want her to be manufactured again for her darn gonna set you. So it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't darn gonna say, oh, just be yourself 100% of the time, but now when it's convenient to you, you now want her to put back on that role for to help you out for your parents. She now got the darn gonna put back on the wig and have the heels and carry herself all posed and collected. But up until when it was with you, all of a sudden you wanted her to be sporadic, but now you want her to turn back into a Barbie. So it led to the black woman having to feel like she has to be controlled again. She's being controlled by her mama. She's being controlled by her job. Her job is low-key discriminating against her because now she got this short hair and all of this. The guy low-key told her, this is not what I meant by getting your head on straight when I darn gonna told you to take a few days. You come back and your whole hair is gone. So she facing a little bit of work discrimination. So this dropped a whole lot of jewels up in the video. It dropped jewels about what black women have to go through as far as discrimination against their hair in the workplace for having short afro hair. Showcase the hypocrisy with the husband, because the husband was feeling the short hair up until it was time to meet mama. Now you want her to put in the darn old weave again. And then she just broke down. She already gonna kick their heels off. She sat down. She said, fuck it. And then she jumped in the pool. And everybody jumped in the pool with her. But who wasn't in that motherfucking pool? None other than the darn fiance who wanted her to be wild in the motherfucking beginning. I said, ain't this about a bitch? I said, ain't this about a bitch? Zoe done jumped her ass in the pool. The friends jumped their ass in the pool. Even the darn the people that y'all was trying to put on for, they finally got over the bullshit. Old girl said, I haven't been in a pool in 50 years. I ain't been in a pool since we had to have the color sign. Because you know old girl dipped her toe up in the darn Olympic pool, and them motherfucking hating ass heathens darn gonna drain the pool. Not heifers, but straight up heathens. Drain the pool when someone dipped their toe in it. So old girl ain't been in the pool since them times, and she said, hell, I'm about to jump up in this pool as well. Hope my bra don't say, honey, she's 70 years old. You know damn well them titties all the way down here. Titties was about to be down near her hoo-ha area, jumping in that pool. But even her ass, she looked like she went to class with motherfucking Cicely Tyson. And she jumped her ass in that pool. And here your ass is, the main one judging her. You and your darn parents up there looking like darn steak onions that you was cutting at the beginning when you was darn just got finished with the cootie cat. When she gave you the cootie cat, she was freaky. All of a sudden, you was chopping up them onions and you was all happy and teary-eyed. But now when she's free in front of the public and it's in front of your parents, all of a sudden, you just looking disgusted. Time out. I said, bitch, I hope she leaves your ass. And sure enough, she did. We fast forward a couple years later. She's darn presenting a project of natural hair care products. Once again, shout out to the naturalistas, honey. Don't let this shrinkage fool you either. That's another thing that we have with the perception of this. Honey, natural hair, all hair is good hair. So she presenting the market about all hair is good hair, how and then he counter argues with, why would I promote a product that cuts into what I already am selling? And she compares it to natural food. It's like, well, natural food got integrated into the supermarket and it didn't cut from the sales of junk food. It just added to a market of people that was already seeking out the natural food. It gave them more choices. And black women, whether you want to have an afro or straighten your hair or wear a wreath, it's our choice. It shouldn't be, conditional, or it shouldn't be the only option that we have. So she pointed out that option that you can be natural and you can still flat iron your hair, you can still wear a weave, and it's not going to interrupt with those sales. And black people have the largest dollar. We do. We spend 80% in the beauty sector. We spend more money on beauty products than every other race of people combined. We spend more money on weave, hair care, and skin care products than Asian women, Native American, multi-ethnic Filipino, white women, anybody in the white race. We spend more money than every other race of people combined times 4. Black people alone spend 80% of the dollars in the beauty market. From flat irons, hair care, skin care, black people spend the most money. So why is you worried about what the 20% doing when it's the 80% of the dollars, in this case, that's because usually the 80-20 rule, this is where it gets fucked up. Because when it comes to beauty, we chase the 20%, but in this rare case, the 20% does not bring in the dominant dollars. The 20% of the market, which represents white people, Native Americans, Hispanics, they don't bring in the dominant dollars. Now in business, when it comes to entrepreneurship, the top 20% of the people bring in 80% of the revenue. But in this case, the 20% actually brings in only 20% of the cash flow. It's black people that actually bring in the dominant amount of money. So this is the rare 80. This is the rare 80-20 that actually breaks the 80-20 rule. 80% of the population that's buying beauty products actually represent 80% of the dollars. Whereas in any other sector, such as entrepreneurship, it's usually the 20% that's bringing in the 80%, and 80% that's only bringing in 20%. If that makes sense. I know if you don't have a background in business, that might have went over your head, but I hope that makes sense to y'all. But anyways, it ended like that. Fast forward a couple years later, she's now talking back to the man that had her open up, who was the father of Zoe, the one that darn gone over process her hair because she talked shit about her afro. But now she's still keeping the hair short, so it's been 2 years. It could have grown back out, but she's decided to keep her hair cut short because it's her choice, and she's now rocking her hair. She will no longer be defined by her hair. What started out with a mental breakdown now turned into her owning her beauty, and her beauty is her choice. If she wants to flat iron her hair, she can flat iron her hair. If she wants to have it curly, she can have it curly. If she wants to wear a weave, she can wear a weave. But she's not going to do it for her hypocritical ex-fiance. She's not going to do it for her darn gone uppity mama who's finally going to let her hair down because she didn't have no choice. That wig went gone like this when that bitch had to be jumped in that pool. She got thrown and jumped in that pool. She done finally let her hair down. But she's no longer living for her mama. She's no longer living for her ex-fiance. She's living for herself and living her best life. And she didn't go back to the black man. I guess they still courting. She's keeping it coy. And she's on herself. And so I ultimately like the movie. The way it ended, I give it a B-. I would have gave it an A+, but like I said, the hair color consistency threw me off. As a beautician, I can't give this movie an A+, because it's like, you know damn well, if she don't flat iron her hair at the house, why in the fuck would she automatically bleach her hair? And why would she bleach her hair within darn 6 weeks of having a relaxer? And then 6 weeks of having a relaxer that over-processed her hair because she put heat on the relaxer because, no, she didn't do it. She was at the beauty shop, but the Zoe switched the conditioner out for the relaxer. So you have over-processed hair that you now bleach blonde, honey, and your curls were still intact. Your hair wasn't chopped all the way messed up in. If that would have happened in real life, if she would have bleached hair that was already over-processed, her hair would have been bald, not from her shaving it off, but it would have fell all the way out from the motherfucking root. It would have fell out, or from the point of where she blonded at, because she left some of the hair black. So all that blonde hair, all that bleached hair she had on her head, it would have snapped off. Because you already broke your bonds when you relaxed the hair. And now you're breaking it even more with the bleach. There's no way in the world. It's not even with oiloplex. Her hair was already chemically heat trained. Her hair was perpetually darn relaxed. She was over-processed, and then you're putting bleach on top of all of that. Not even oiloplex could have darn saved her hair from falling out from the demarcation line of where she left the black hair. That was still high porosity because that wasn't her virgin hair. It was still, chemically altered from being heat trained and partially relaxed. So just because it was black and not color treated, it was still considered, what the fuck? Oh Lord, I've been talking so long, an Amber Alert done came up on my phone. But anyways, this video wasn't even meant to be a full-on video like this, but it turned into it. I mean, this has so many gems up in it from, internalizing, the struggles with black women from the South, dealing with hair, dealing with perfection, dealing with image, dealing with relationships, dealing with, parents. It has so many twists and turns. I mean, I ultimately like it. So, that's my thoughts of this show. Y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. How do y'all like it? And that's it.